Time this morning. Let's go straight to Canberra now. The Shadow Assistant Treasurer, Senator Matthias Cormann, is standing by. We just heard there from Richard Marles about costings, saying, why not, if you're so confident now after what was a slapdown from the Treasury and the Department of Finance, why not open up the books, put this to bed once and for all?
Well, let's just be very clear. Kevin Rudd was caught out red-handed telling a big fat lie about coalition costings to the Australian people, and instead of backtracking and apologising, he decided to shamelessly press ahead. I mean, let's get real here. Whatever information we put out there, and we have put out more information about our costings than any opposition before. We will continue to put out more information about our costings than any opposition before. But whatever information we put out there, we could put out a 2,000-page dissertation by an Oxford professor in public accounting, and the Labor Party would complain about the quality of the paper that it's printed on, about too much of this, not enough of that. I mean, there's nothing that we can put out there that would satisfy the Labor Party. And just listening to Richard Marles there just now, it seems to be that the Labor Party thinks they should have another 3 years in government in order to stop Tony Abbott. Well, that's not good enough. The reason the coalition is asking people for their trust, to give us their confidence at this election, is because we want to grow a stronger economy, because we want to create more jobs, it's because we want to help them with their cost of living pressures, it's because we want to build the roads of the 21st century.
You said it was a big fat lie, but you know, if you did put this out, surely you could prove that it was a big fat lie, because that's not proven as yet. The Treasury just said that the figures could be different.
Well, let's be very clear. Every single one of our policies that we've announced in this election is fully costed by the Parliamentary Budget Office. Every single policy that we've put out in this election is fully funded. Once we've released all of our policies and all of our savings measures, what will be obvious is that the budget bottom line will be better off under the coalition than under Labor.
But you're only releasing that a few days before the poll. In fact, perhaps even the final day, certainly after the blackout. Why is that? Are you afraid of Labor advertisements when it comes to your costings?
Well, David, that is just not true. I mean, every time we release a policy, it includes the costings information in relation to a particular policy.
But the final costing will happen in the final day, as I understand it, or after the blackout period.
Well, what will happen at the end, after we've released all of our policies, that we will give you a list of all of our policies and their cost, a list of all of our savings measures and their value, and we've already released the bulk of our savings. And once you add it all up, you'll see that the net impact on the budget bottom line will be positive under the coalition. But let's be very clear, whenever the Labor Party puts out their budget, or their budget update, or their economic statement for that matter, they don't release the underlying advice from Treasury or Finance. They don't release their briefing papers they get. The only time they release their briefing papers is when they want to use it to attack the opposition, and dishonestly at that. And that is, of course, why Prime Minister Rudd has been terribly embarrassed and humiliated this week.
Senator
Cormann,
and
he's been exposed for the lie.
On the issue of asylum seekers, a new plank to the policy today where it comes to legal aid for asylum seekers that arrive here by boat. Can you take us through the detail of that?
Look, we're committed to stopping the boats. The announcement that Scott Morrison and George Brandis will make today is part of our broader policy to stop the boats, which of course includes our commitment to rigorous offshore processing, our commitment to restoring temporary protection visas, our commitment to turn the boats around when it's safe to do so. And of course, I mean, what we're saying here is that people who arrive here illegally, not going through the proper processes, why should the Australian taxpayers be funding access to migration services for people who are paying people smugglers to bring them here illegally? I mean, we're saying, yes, sure, of course they can continue to have access to those services, but why should the Australian taxpayer pay for it? And this is obviously an opportunity for us to achieve a $100 million saving over the forward estimates.
And just in 30 seconds, should Kevin Rudd go to the G20 this week?
Look, I mean, I'm not going to give advice to Kevin Rudd. I mean, he won't take advice from me, I'm sure. I've been very disappointed with the way our Prime Minister has sought to politicise for electioneering purposes foreign affairs this week. I guess it's a sign of an increasingly desperate Prime Minister who has got nothing positive to say about the future and who's just totally relentlessly negative about anything that we say.
Senator Matthias Cormann, the Shadow Assistant Treasurer, thanks so much for your time.
Always good to be here.
And thanks.